Ladies and gentlemen, in this video I am going to show you how you can invest on your first buy-to-let property. And if you're looking to invest on it, you want to make sure you get a good return of your property that you're going to let out to a tenant. And you guys are now going to create some home for people who are looking for moving on into getting their first rental property, or there's tenants out there who wants to create a lovely home for their family. So guys, in this video I'm going to show you some of the biggest tips and guides that I'm going to share you to really achieve the best out of your investment properties. Now, if you're new to this channel, my name is Piers. I make property investing videos mainly around service accommodation or Airbnb business. I help loads of clients in the UK who starts Airbnb business, and also I'll do loads of free videos on this channel. So please make sure, if you're not subscribed, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Now today, later on this video, I'm going to share you kind of a story where a landlord purchased something completely in a numbers sense. If you're looking at a property, then that didn't add up, and eventually that landlord had to put that property back into the market in 6 months of purchase. I want to give you some of the advice that there's some stories out there where landlords are purchasing for their first buy-to-let property and not realizing that they've ended up actually being a burden rather than an investment. So please make sure you're watching this video towards the end. I'm going to share you that story as well. So guys, in today's video, I'm going to share you how to make good decisions on buying your first buy-to-let or your investment property. I'm going to have 3 different segments to this video. So now I'm going to share you kind of the major factors that you've got to consider while looking at your first buy-to-let property. Then I will move on to kind of talking about the numbers, how to make sure that you're making the right decision based on numbers on your purchase of your first buy-to-let property. And then the last one is obviously to share you the story of a wrong investment that could effectively actually cost you money, be a problem, and you will end up selling it as quickly as possible. So making sure that you kind of not become that landlord or that the person who actually invested on it, and really it was a nightmare for him to do that investment and actually lost money. So I'll be sharing that in this video, is the 3 factors. Now firstly, to consider while you're looking at your first buy-to-let property. So let's look at the first factor. Know your numbers, or effectively an investment, right? So what that means is I have seen a lot of investors, or just, let's not even call property investors, they're more looking for investment opportunity. They have a pot together as a family or friends, and what they want to do is obviously by all these people saying actually property investment can be so good, without them knowing and learning the numbers, they go and end up buying a property without knowing their numbers and the investment, which obviously later in this video I'm going to show you what and how that you can make sure you decide the right numbers while you're purchasing your investment property. Now the second one is to, again, know your rental demand in your investment area, right? Now, a lot of time, because you might be new to your first buy-to-let property investment that you're creating, a lot of time people focus on actually buying the property. They completely forget what sort of actual rental are they going to get to cover their mortgage that they're going to achieve on that investment property. So a lot of time, again, I will make sure that you have to speak to your the agent that you're dealing with to ask obviously how much rental can you receive on that property. But also there's so many platforms at the moment online, you can literally go and do your research. Now places like OpenRent, if you're doing HMOs and you want to know the room by room rental market, there's spare rooms, so you can really put some plans in place to know your rental demand in that area. So we're going to touch base that in later on the video as well. So the third thing we're going to discuss now, your role and responsibilities as a landlord. And the reason why I mention this is I've dealt with hundreds of landlords throughout my journey of property investing, and one of the things I'm very, very surprised sometimes is when I come across landlord and I say them, I'm actually a member of National Landlord Association, and that is a a group of, or an association which actually gives you so much detail as being a landlord, and some of the the forms, the implications as a landlord, the laws. Literally every single update that you need to know as a landlord is actually in that association, and you just need to pay like a membership fee for the year. And I'm so surprised that there's over 50, I'd say about 50% of landlords in the UK are actually not a part of NLA. And what I'll do is I'll put a link down below for that website. So if you want to understand, and if you're a landlord or if you're looking to do your first property investment, please make sure you're going out and checking their website, because they've got so much content which will also help you make decisions while you're looking to buy your first property investment. If you're enjoying this video, guys, please make sure you're hitting that like button. Please make sure you're subscribed to this channel, because like I said, I'll bring videos like this which is really going to help you kind of understand. And even if you're I know there's experienced property investors or people who are investing in property watch my video, and I know there's so many newbies who are watching my video. I get messages over social media all the time, and I really appreciate if you could hit that like and a subscribe button. So now we're going to go to even more fun part. Now what we're going to do is we're going to crack on with some kind of the numbers that you've got to look at, which is why is it going to make it a good investment, especially your return on investment. So without further ado, let's just crack on with some of the numbers that you've got to really understand to really think about your return on investment. I'm just going to show you kind of an overview of this return on investment, but please make sure there's so much other details that you've got to consider. But this is just going to give you kind of an overview of the understanding of when you're looking at your investment numbers. So let's just look at your return on investment on your buy to let property. So obviously you've got your purchase price. Now guys, purchase price is something I always say, what is marketed in through an agent online and stuff is just an indication. It might not be a true market value for the property. So please make sure obviously you're doing your own research by going in Zoopla, actually looking at what's in the market, what has been sold recently in the market. You can do that in Rightmove as well. So please make sure you're looking at some kind of comparable in the market. So obviously you've now got your purchase price, which is, let's say it's 100,000, right? In that you've got 25% deposit. So again, if you're new to buy-to-let property investment, just realize that you cannot buy property anything below 25% deposit as a standard buy-to-let. Now you can do with other purchases, but as a standard buy-to-let, you will start from a minimum 25. Now it can go up to, depending on your loan to value, which is your mortgages and stuff, depending on the rental market, the rental demand, it can go from 25% all the way up to 40% as well. So please make sure you're calculating accordingly for the deposit. And then you've got 75% on mortgage. Right, so there are generally your the numbers that you've got to look at. Now in this case, we've got 25,000 and we've got 75,000 as a mortgage. So you need 25,000 as a deposit, you need 75,000 as a mortgage. Now in this case, I'm only going to give you an overview, but let's say you've got 4% of legals, which is your fees and stuff, including your 3% stamp duty because of the purchase price, and again because it's your buy-to-let property. Again, you could always there's so many apps you can download for your buy-to-let legal calculator. So if you do that, you can then obviously get a total price or total sum of your investment. Right, so because obviously your legals, your stamp duty is still a money being invested in that property, that you should always count as an investment, as an overall investment. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you just again an overview of what you should look at that rental market to make sure that you are getting a better return on investment. Well, now I'm just going to give you like an overview of kind of the rental side of actually looking at investment, so it gives you an idea of what money you put in and what investment actually have you put in versus what money are you going to bring out of that property. So one of the things that you've got to look at is you've now got a total of what you're investing. Right now, that's two type of total, which is one, you've actually physically put in, which is obviously your 25% deposit. You've also paid the 4% off legals and stuff. That is what is the total lump sum of what you physically put in. And then obviously your mortgage of 75% is still, you know, if you're again doing as a, let's say, just, you know, buy to let interest only mortgage, then obviously you are only gonna, your amount of 75% is gonna stay as it is, but you'll only be paying that, you know, whatever your mortgage rate is, you're gonna only pay that interest rate back of that overall amount. Now, what we're trying to achieve here is we need to make sure that whatever you pay as your mortgage amount as an interest, if again, that's generally what I'd suggest, but again, please speak to your own financial advisor. This is just like a guidance to you. But whatever your mortgage amount is, you need to make sure your rental value is actually more than what you're going to pay out. And that is the simple way you need to understand. Now, I know I am actually going to do a whole detailed video of like a screenshot of all this numbers so that you get an idea of a lot more detail, but I'm only giving you kind of a guidance to say, look, if you are going to invest on your, let's say 25% and your 4% legal, which is your own cash that you've invested. Obviously mortgage is something that you've borrowed and it can be on an interest only, which means obviously you only, the total value will stay as it is, but you will be only paying interest. But in that case, the biggest thing you need to work around is what are you paying your mortgage on a monthly basis and what sort of rental are you going to achieve on a monthly basis. That means, let's say for example, for argument's sake, you get 200, your interest only mortgage is about £200 and your rental value is about £400. That seems like an okay investment because obviously taking out the 200, you still left away with, you've got another 200 as a cash flow. However, now that's where you need to make sure, how do you actually even maximize your return on investment by making sure that you achieve higher rental and look at those right opportunity for investment in your first buy to let property. Well, I just want to now cover that final story of a landlord who obviously was his first buy to let investment property, all excited that he knows that he was about to, you know, made that opportunity of actually investing in property in general. And it was such a terrific moment after a few months that he realized that he's actually done a very bad investment, because from what I know, I don't know exact numbers, but I know when I spoke to that client when he got that property out in the market to rent, obviously he tried it renting it himself, and most of the landlord I know are trying the ways previously, you know, especially when they have exposed themselves to so much of all this, you know, expenses by, you know, buying that property, and the least thing they wanted to worry about is going back into a estate agent and getting, you know, charged for the management fee and stuff. So the client basically actually took the keys on, wanted to market himself, put it on some of the platforms, and realized that he wasn't really getting much of an interest of the property. Now, purely it was the fact that he was charging a 2-bedroom house, a terraced house. It didn't have no garden and stuff. It was in 3 floors as well, a slightly different kind of small compact terrace property for £1,000 a month per calendar month, when I know the market was giving, like, say an apartment at that time and a 2-bedroom was only about £900, and the houses were going for maybe about, I'd say about £950 max. But the reality was those houses would have some kind of garden or car park or whatever. In this case, he didn't have that. You literally have the house, you know, once you walk in, you've got a lounge, kitchen downstairs, first floor, the main bathroom and a room, a decent sized room. And again, 3rd floor, it was like a kind of box sized room as well. So effectively that wasn't attracting a lot of client. Now, knowing that his mortgage, from what I kind of know, was about 950, and he was trying to rent it out for £1,000 a month, he would only make about £50 on his back on return. Now, I know that he was on a capital repayment, so he wasn't on an interest only. Now, that's the other thing that you've got to make sure as a buy-to-let investor or first-time property, you know, if you're looking to invest in property first time, you need to make sure and really understand what are you actually wanting to achieve from that, you know, investment. Now, don't get me wrong, that landlord who's got that mortgage of 950 wanting to rent for £1,000, obviously he's building his capital payment, and obviously that is going down per month. But the fact that it would actually put him on a lot of pressure, because he couldn't let out that property for 2 months, which means he was now effectively paying 2 months from his own pocket. The fact that the property was sat empty, he wasn't attracting any tenant for £1,000, which means that we had to, you know, coming into the market value. Now going back into true market value, the rental was only about £950, and you know, he was trying to achieve £1,000 for it. So again, he had to go back, which means he made no cash flow per month, and effectively in 6 months' time, you know, he lost 2 months of rent because there was nobody there. Actually, within that 6 months, some of the things went wrong in the property, so he was investing some money to get that fixed for his tenant, and effectively he lost money in that first 6 months to him to just say, look, I need to put it back in the market for sale, and actually make some, you know, hold that, you know, hope once he sells it, hold that problem, you know, the investment, and actually make a better decision. So guys, this is something in this video I wanted to share, is to give you an understanding of what a buy-to-let property investment can be. I know it's a huge topic that we can go through later on in this channel. Please make sure, like I said, if you subscribe, I've done many videos about property investing, and I am going to make some more videos in details about this return on investment, so people like yourself who's watching my video will enjoy it a lot. But quickly, I do want to touch base on something. So a client of mine, as you know, I run a service accommodation business or Airbnb business. A client of mine who is my consulting client, so I help a lot of service accommodation owners around the UK to come, you know, work with me to build a company so they can scale and grow as their business. And we secured £33,800 worth of sales and booking in 5 weeks working with me, and I'm so excited. Now you might be thinking, okay, how does that work? You might be new to service accommodation business. Guys, please follow my channel. So like I said, I'll be sharing a lot more about how you can, you know, what I've shared today was more of you buying a property and renting it out as just a standard buy-to-let, you know, a rental market, a traditional rental. Now, I show people, or I work with landlords, or I work with some rent-to-rent property investors, that we turn properties into Airbnb business with the right legislation, legals in places, and actually make a lot more in return by, you know, renting out property in a nightly basis, in a weekly basis, or some of them being contractors, and they pay you in such a high nightly rate, but they will book you over the months. And that's what I achieved for my client, and I was so excited. If you visit my website, I've done a much more kind of detailed post about it. I did on my social media as well. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate that. You know, there's so many people out there who are watching, liking my video. Please make sure, if this is useful, share it with your friends and family. And look, I will be back with another video. Till then, stay safe.